Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 307 based on novel. So let's start. When Wang Lin's finger landed on the 18 Hell Celestial ceiling stamp, there was a flash of red light. It was as if a blood-colored light had filled the cave and made the flowers red. As the blood light became brighter, a red mist came out from the 14th layer. Blood Ancestor stared at Wang Lin with a bloodthirsty gaze from within the red mist. However, he immediately noticed Yao Shishua's presence and looked over. He was startled for a moment and then his expression became gentle. Yao Shishua's face was pale as she looked at everything before her. Blood Ancestor, I promised you back then that I'd let you meet your daughter. Now I have completed my promise. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the red mist around Blood Ancestor dissipated. This released him from Wang Lin's control. Blood Ancestor's soul flashed red and gradually took human form. He stared at his daughter before him, and his eyes filled with excitement. The matter from back then is over now. Yao Shishua schemed against me and was sealed for hundreds of years. You wanted to kill me and ended up like this. I was also a cause in this matter as Yao Shishua lost her memory to become a puppet for the Wind Demon to get revenge. Now that I've saved her, let us forget the past. From now on, you two no longer have anything to do with me. Our karma is cleared. If you continue to entangle me, then don't blame me for killing both of you and not allowing either of you to enter the reincarnation cycle. Wang Lin's calm voice contained a hint of coldness. He waved his sleeves and walked into the distance. Blood Ancestor, you don't need to return to the 14th layer. I set you free to accompany your daughter. This is the Celestial Emperor Cave in the Demon Spirit Land. You two can find a place to hide until the entire cave has been opened. Yao Shishua's gaze fell on Wang Lin's back, and she was filled with confusion. She couldn't think of anything but also didn't want to think about it. There was a voice in her mind telling her that her past was like the wind. It was now gone and she should just let it be. Yao Shishua could tell it was her voice, as if they were the last words she left herself before losing her memories. Blood Ancestor looked at Wang Lin, who gradually walked away, and revealed a complex expression. After the seal was released, he regained his consciousness. Although he was only a soul, someone of his cultivation level could find a way to reform his body and continue to cultivate. When Wang Lin's leaving figure entered his eyes, there was no longer the hatred he had in the past. Blood Ancestor understood that if Wang Lin wanted to kill them, it wouldn't take any effort. Wang Lin didn't kill them and instead gave him freedom and his daughter a new life. After letting out a sigh, the hatred was no longer important. What was important was his daughter's safety. Although she was left with no memories, it might have been for the best. After experiencing all of this, Blood Ancestor felt old. The only thing in his mind was allowing his daughter to live peacefully. It was better to let everything else go. Blood Ancestor looked kindly at Yao Shishua and softly said, "Child, come with Dad." Although she had lost her memories, she felt a sense of trust toward Blood Ancestor from her blood. The father and daughter duo gradually walked away. Dad, was what he said just now true? Truth and lies are no longer important. We will never have contact with him anymore. He is not someone we can provoke. As Blood Ancestor spoke, he looked into the distance. He could no longer see through Wang Lin. He is no longer a junior that I don't even need to pay attention to. In just these several hundreds of years, he has already grown to such a degree. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he slowly moved forward. His method in dealing with the karma regarding Yao Shishua might seem strange from someone else's point of view. However, as long as he thought that was how it should be, then that's how it will be. Wang Lin gradually walked away step after step. A powerful aura began gathering in his body, and it became stronger as he walked. In the end, this aura was monstrous. Wang Lin's eyes became brighter under this monstrous aura. After he dealt with the matter with Yao Shishua and escaped from that karma, his Tao heart became complete. Wang Lin could feel his stagnant cultivation beginning to show signs of a breakthrough. Yao Shishua and Blood Ancestor had disappeared into a restriction to wait for the day the cave was completely opened. Looking around the cave, there was no one else left in the cave. The ruin caused by the explosion of the celestial burial pool was still there. Not far away was the deep pit where the celestial burial pool was. Slivers of cold energy came out from inside the pit. After looking around, Wang Lin's gaze looked ahead. This was only the outer part of the Celestial Emperor cave, and he was not even close to the inner part. From here, he could see the large amount of pavilions and buildings in the distance. These buildings formed an irregular pattern. At the end of Wang Lin's line of sight, he could see a palace in the depths of these buildings surrounded by a veil of dense, black fog. The palace could barely be seen. While pondering, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slapped his bag of holding. A jade appeared in his hand. It was a celestial jade that gave off a gentle light. Wang Lin originally obtained this in the demon spirit land. Inside it was the stop spell and the method for refining celestial guards. Wang Lin remembered that when he examined the jade, there was also a map inside. However, Wang Lin felt like this map was unfamiliar, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Looking at the cave now, he vaguely felt it was familiar. Then he remembered the map in the jade. When he took out the jade, his divine sense went inside it, and his expression changed. The place the map depicted was this Celestial Emperor cave. Wang Lin carefully examined the map and carefully remembered everything. After pondering for a bit, he didn't move carelessly. Instead, he retreated next to the pit left by the Celestial Burial Pool and looked down. The pit was completely dark, and his gaze couldn't pierce it. This place is not bad. Wang Lin took a step and entered the pit. However, he didn't descend very fast, he only went down few hundred feet. Then Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding, causing a dozen large swords to fly out and sweep the sides of the pit. Gravel flew everywhere, and a moment later, a cave was formed. Wang Lin went inside and sat down. After taking a deep breaths, Wang Lin placed many restrictions before he calmed down. Then he slapped his bag of holding, causing a ray of silver light to fly out, and it turned into a beautiful woman. This woman looked at Wang Lin but didn't speak. She sat down next to the entrance and guarded Wang Lin. Wang Lin examined the silver female corpse while he sat there. He felt like there was something different around her after she absorbed the flower poison. However, he couldn't tell what it was. He spread out his divine sense and found that the original control seal inside her body was still there. It wasn't damaged at all, and all the other hidden restrictions he had placed were there as well. Only then did he relax and close his eyes to cultivate. Now that my cultivation is showing a sign of a breakthrough, I must take this chance and ascend. Only then can I gain a better chance in this Celestial Emperor cave. When he closed his eyes, the origin energy inside him suddenly cycled through his whole body. A trace of fiery heat came out from his body, but it stayed within certain distance from his body and didn't spread. His domain had made a breakthrough due to the matter with Yao Shishue. Now that Wang Lin began using his cultivation, which was stagnant at the peak of the mid-stage of Nirvana Skriya, began to loosen. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. During these 3 days, Wang Lin didn't move, and the origin energy inside his body cycled even faster. In the end, the flow of his origin energy was so smooth, it was impossible to tell where it began or ended. The silver female corpse had protected Wang Lin the whole time. She would often look at Wang Lin for a long time, and there would be a trace of confusion in her gaze. However, this trace of confusion would be immediately hidden very well. On the 4th day, Wang Lin opened his eyes. After pondering for a bit, he took out few origin souls of people he had killed. Then he devoured them without any hesitation. There isn't enough origin energy here, so this is the only way to make a breakthrough. While Wang Lin's cultivation level was increasing from the mid-stage of Nirvana Skriya, a shocking scene occurred far away from the Celestial Emperor cave. Every Alliance cultivator who saw this was shocked. There were red flames coming from the distant horizon. It was as if the flames were coming to burn everything into nothingness. The red flames gradually closed in and became brighter and brighter. The light was extremely harsh, and it looked as if the endless flames were going to sweep across the stars. They were also moving at an unimaginable speed. An extremely large vermilion bird with wings hundreds of kilometers wide was flying at the front of the flames. This vermilion bird was composed of fire, and its unimaginable heat could be felt from far away. The heat from this vermilion bird would shock all cultivators. Wherever the vermilion bird passed, the pupils of all the nearby cultivators shrank and they rushed to avoid it. They didn't dare to approach at all. Any powerful cultivator with any worldly knowledge suddenly felt an ancient name explode in their mind when they saw the vermilion bird. Vermilion Bird Divine Sect? The ancient vermilion bird divine sect seemed to have become a myth. These four words didn't even exist in the minds of some cultivators. The four divine sect had faded away for far too long. Their former glory had become a memory of the past, and even that gradually disappeared with the passage of time. Only a few powerful cultivators still retained respect for the four divine sect in their memories. They would tremble from the bottom of their hearts when they hear the name, for divine sect. The Four Divine Sect was even more powerful and mysterious than the current Cultivation Alliance. Even the brilliant Void Realm dreaded the Four Divine Sect. As a result, they teamed up with the Cultivation Alliance. After many conspiracies, they were able to bring the Four Divine Sect to their weakest point. The most powerful Azure Dragon Divine Emperor went missing, and the news of the most feared Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor entering his third Heaven's Blight was leaked. This opened the Four Divine Sect for an unprecedented crisis. Nevertheless, the Four Divine Sect was still strong enough to fight against the Cultivation Alliance, and they didn't fear the brilliant Void Realm. After all, for various reasons, the brilliant Void Realm could only help in secret. Even if they stepped out, the Four Divine Sect could activate the Four Divine Treasures and put up a fight. However, at the most critical moment of the Four Divine Sect's battle against the Alliance, a heaven-shaking event occurred that eventually caused the Four Divine Sect to finally decline. The Black Tortoise Divine Emperor, his three major disciples, and a majority of his sect betrayed the Four Divine Sect. Not only this, but during the betrayal, he sneak attacked the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. Although he ultimately failed, he caused the Third Heaven's Blight, which the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor was suppressing, to erupt. This kind of thing was completely unbelievable for the Four Divine Sect, who relied on bloodline inheritances. The betrayal of the Black Tortoise Divine Emperor and a majority of his sect caused an unimaginable change to this war. Originally, with the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor missing, the ancient Four Divine Treasures lost a lot of their power. Now that the Black Tortoise Divine Emperor had betrayed the Four Divine Sect, the power of the Four Divine Treasures weakened even more. Even until now, no one knew why the Black Tortoise Divine Emperor, who was one of the Four Divine Emperors, betrayed the Four Divine Sect. This whole thing was an unsolved mystery. The betrayal of the Black Tortoise Divine Emperor strengthened the Cultivation Alliance. That battle shook the entire star system and left bloody corpses everywhere. However, the Cultivation Alliance still underestimated the Four Divine Sect. After the betrayal, the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor risked failing his third Heaven's Blight and filled the stars with a sea of flames. He then split into 10 avatars and launched a crazy counter-attack. This battle was a tragedy. The few cultivators that survived would shiver every time they remembered it. In the end, the Four Divine Sect was defeated. The brilliant Void Realm broke the promise they had made countless years ago to not get involved in the battle and openly joined the fight. The original intention was to completely wipe out the Four Divine Sect. However, even they underestimated the Four Divine Sect. The Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor lost 8 avatars and his original body almost collapsed, leaving behind only a trace of will. The Azure Dragon Divine Sect suffered heavy casualties, only 1 or 2 out of every 10 members survived. The Black Tortoise Divine Sect almost collapsed. The White Tiger Divine Emperor killed many of the Alliance's first group of elders and many people from the brilliant Void Realm. Even in the end, when he died, his body didn't collapse but stood there, blocking the Cultivation Alliance's army. The monstrous killing intent he released shocked countless people and made it so none of them dared to move forward. This tragic war ended here, and it could be said that both sides suffered greatly. The Four Divine Sect lost, but the Cultivation Alliance's strength also suffered greatly. Even the brilliant Void Realm had to stop their plans to completely wipe out the Four Divine Sect. It wasn't that they didn't want to, But if they continued, then the price for winning was not something the Alliance or the brilliant Void Realm could withstand. After all, there was still the rumor for divine treasures that could split the heavens. If they really forced the Four Divine Sect into a desperate situation, the Four Divine Sect could easily sacrifice the entire sect to take them down with them. From then on, the Four Divine Sect disappeared without a trace. In these tens of thousands of years, they almost never appeared, and even when they did, they only occupied a small number of planets. In such a way, they also integrated into the Alliance. Planet Suzaku was a good example. However, the appearance of a vermilion bird hundreds of thousands of kilometers large among the stars clearly signaled that the Four Divine Sect would surge within the star system once more. Along the way, even the meteors that flew by were burned to ashes by the vermilion bird. This shocked many Alliance cultivators, and they began to speculate. Even All Heaven immediately obtained information about the appearance of the vermilion bird. When Master Flamespark heard the news, he immediately began to laugh. The war that All Heaven had put on hold had begun once more on a large scale. They used the northern region as a base and swept forward. Even more All Heaven cultivators came from All Heaven. Almost all of cultivators in All Heaven were pulled out to attack the Alliance in full force. Wang Lin didn't know about any of this. At this moment, he was sitting in the hole, cultivating with his eyes closed. Every now and then, he would take out an origin soul to devour. Fortunately, he had enough origin souls inside his bag for him to devour. The origin energy inside his body cycled faster and faster. A powerful aura surrounded his body and swept the area like a storm. The cave he was in wasn't big, and countless cracks appeared within the storm and large amounts of gravel fell off the walls. But Wang Lin wasn't aware of any of this. He had reached a critical moment in his breakthrough. Before any gravel could land on him, there would a flash of silver light. It was the silver female corpse shattering all of them. Endless origin energy came from the origin souls Wang Lin devoured, and the origin energy gathered inside Wang Lin's origin soul like crazy. If it was before the vermilion bird awakening and his origin energy didn't contain the holy flame, then he would have already broken through. However, Wang Lin's origin energy contained flames, so the origin energy he devoured had to be altered. It was refined inside his origin soul. Although it was more troublesome, once it succeeds, Wang Lin's strength will increase several-fold. Large amounts of origin energy changed to contain powerful flames, causing Wang Lin's body to release large amounts of heat as the origin energy cycled through his body. The sides of the cave turned red and collapsed. It was as if these rocks had been buried inside a volcano for a long time and contained extreme heat. The silver female corpse frowned, but she didn't move even half a step. As his aura grew stronger and stronger, the origin energy storm from his body also became stronger. A loud rumble shook the cave and caused a widespread collapse. The ground Wang Lin was sitting on suddenly cracked. As the floor gave out, Wang Lin fell down. The storm around him kicked away all the fallen gravel. Right now, Wang Lin's storm was like a drill digging down. The silver female corpse followed Wang Lin as a ray of silver light. The high heat flowed into her face, causing her pale face to turn slightly more red. She didn't blink and always kept her eyes on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body continued to sink, then he suddenly opened his eyes. Two beams of flames came out from his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, the storm around him reached a peak and swept the area. Then the aura of a late-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator spread out. This powerful feeling made him feel as if he controlled the world. At this moment, he felt as if he could destroy the world with one spell. Everything he saw changed, everything before him seemed to be made of strings. This was the law within his eyes. After reaching the second step, one had to scry the laws. Once one had reached a certain point, they would be able to reach the peak of Nirvana Scryer. I've broken through. Wang Lin took a deep breath. Just reaching the late state of Nirvana Scryer was not enough for him. After his domain evolved and he reached the late stage Nirvana Scryer, he felt like there was still some room. He only needed enough origin energy to reach the peak of the late stage of Nirvana Scryer. Wang Lin's eyes shined. He had no time to check himself, so he just devoured all the origin souls inside his body. At this moment, his late-stage nirvana scryer energy was altered to contain flames and became much stronger. The origin energy inside Wang Lin's body continued to transform, and Wang Lin's body temperature gradually rose. The vermilion bird tattoo charged out of his body and circled around him. The cries of the vermilion bird echoed. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he began to frown. Just a bit more. While pondering, Wang Lin's body flickered and his avatar walked out. Now there were two Wang Lins. The original body sat down and, due to being separated from the avatar, his monstrous killing intent filled the area. The avatar had a calm face. After he left the original body, he stepped out from the cave. He floated in the air and the vermilion bird quickly hovered over him. Wang Lin took a deep breath and the origin energy inside his body reached a peak. A ball of flames lit up in his left eye, and his right eye contained a blue ball of thunder. Then his origin soul flew out from between his eyebrows. The ancient thunder dragon's roar that could control all thunder echoed inside the pit. At this moment, the way Wang Lin saw the world changed drastically. The world changed. Even though this was the Celestial Emperor Cave, it couldn't stop Wang Lin's gaze. Flames surged in his left eye and thunder flashed in his right eye. At this instant, the world before Wang Lin was completely different from before. The deep pit before him slowly became transparent until it disappeared completely. What appeared before Wang Lin were these black lines that intersected with each other. These black lines filled the world. This deep pit was obviously formed by these lines. When Wang Lin saw this, he was dumbfounded for a moment. He slowly turned around and looked at another place. As his eyes moved, the walls on the sides disappeared and turned into a myriad of intersecting lines. Staring at these disorderly lines, Wang Lin suddenly had an impulse. He raised his hand and reached at the lines. However, at this moment, a powerful force came from the lines that dispersed Wang Lin's force. Wang Lin's hand bounced off and a powerful rebound force arrived. With a bang, Wang Lin was forced back several steps before he stopped. There was no frustration on his face, but instead enlightenment. He took a deep breath and jumped out of the deep pit. He looked around and found that all the buildings looked very different now. Those buildings and flowers all disintegrated when his gaze fell on them. They turned into various colored lines that intersected with each other. This entire world seemed to have undergone a great change. No wonder people like Bei Lu could easily travel within the 99 realms inside the bottle. Presumably, if Sichu Nan wanted, he could do it as well. Even Master Hollow Wind could break one realm in the bottle world. If I went back into the bottle world, even though I'm not confident in moving through all 99 realms, I would certainly be able to break several realms at a time. Those Nirvana Cleanser old monsters could see laws. They also could control law, so they could naturally move through the realms. I wanted to take the line, but I was rebounded by a powerful force because I hadn't reached the Nirvana Cleanser stage yet. I haven't mastered controlling law. Wang Lin looked at his surroundings and enlightenment filled his eyes. Even those invisible restrictions clearly appeared before Wang Lin. When Wang Lin saw this, he had a thought, and the heaven-defying bead began to move on its own. A fist-sized vortex formed between Wang Lin's eyebrows. The heaven-defying bead slowly came out of the vortex and floated before Wang Lin. There were twisted ripples around the heaven-defying bead. It was as if it didn't belong here and was being rejected. At this instant, Wang Lin's mind combined with the heaven-defying bead. He felt a thunderous rumble in his head and his vision blurred. It was as if a powerful force had taken his mind and broken through all the obstacles in the cave to go up directly into the sky. At this moment, a ray of light shot out from center of the demon spirit land and went off into the horizon. Wang Lin saw the sky. The blue sky instantly turned into long, blue lines that intersected with each other. He saw white clouds, the earth, the plants on the ground, and the countless residences of the demon spirit land. He also saw the rivers and the mountains. With the mysterious power of the heaven-defying bead, Wang Lin's mind spread out across the world and saw all the laws of the world. Everything before him was law, and those colorful lines were a way of seeing laws. As he continued to look, Wang Lin seemed to turn into a breeze, and he swept through the demon spirit land. Then he charged directly toward the sky while being surrounded by the mysterious power of the heaven-defying bead. Another thunderous rumble echoed inside his mind as he pierced through the demon spirit land with the help of the heaven-defying bead. It was something countless cultivators, even people like the All-Seer, couldn't open by force. It was as if nothing could obstruct his mind and the heaven-defying bead, and nothing dared to obstruct them. Wang Lin saw dark space before him. Countless specks of dust filled space, as well as the dazzling nebula. Wang Lin was immersed in this enlightened state as he looked among the stars and felt the laws within this universe. Those dazzling planets in the distance, the flying meteorites, and pieces of dust all appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. Law? Everything in this world contained law. After his mind was merged with the stars, Wang Lin continued to be enlightened. As this continued, his mind grew and continued to spread. The speed at which his mind spread was not something divine sense could compare to. It was just like when Wang Lin stood before the gate in the heaven-defying bead, where he took that half step and seemed to become one with the void. This time, Wang Lin wandered among the stars and experienced the feeling of seeking Tao once more. However, this time he was seeking law. As his mind spread endlessly, it swept by planets one by one. His heart was calm, and as he was completely immersed within this, he was ignorant of his current state. Every planet he swept by, every single life form, including mortals, cultivators, animals, and even plants, were clearly seen by Wang Lin. The countless laws of the world turned into lines and were observed by Wang Lin as his mind passed. None of the cultivators on those planets noticed Wang Lin's mind passing by, not even the cultivators at the Nirvana Scryer and Nirvana Cleanser stages. After all, Wang Lin was being protected by the heaven-defying bead. If he didn't want people to know about his existence, then no one would, not even Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. As his mind spread with the demon spirit land as the center, it was as if time seemed to last forever. It was unknown how much time had passed, but Wang Lin's mind had covered a good portion of the Alliance. He didn't stop there. While gaining enlightenment, he spread his mind even more with the power of the heaven-defying bead. He spread it farther, wider, and deeper. He saw too many cultivators and countless fierce beasts he had never seen. He even spotted some people he knew in the past. These people didn't make Wang Lin stop. The current him was immersed in a strange state where he was comprehending the laws like crazy. As his mind grew like crazy, his cultivation level was also reaching a peak. Reaching the peak of the late stage of Nirvana Scryer wasn't hard for most late-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivators. As long as they saw enough laws, they would naturally reach the peak of the late stage. However, this was a long process because only after experiencing far too much and seeing everything could one succeed. No one could be like Wang Lin, where his mind could spread across a majority of the Alliance star system with the help of the heaven-defying bead to see all the different laws. Wang Lin's mind continued to spread, and he saw a sea of flames closing in. There was a giant vermilion bird emitting extreme heat at the front of the sea of flames. Large amounts of cracks appeared in the space where the vermilion bird passed. It looked as if they could collapse from a simple touch. All the meteorites that closed in on the vermilion bird would be burned to dust. If it wasn't for the fact that the vermilion bird avoided cultivation planets, then far too many planets would have collapsed along the way. Rays of flames followed the vermilion bird. There were cultivators in red inside each ray of flame. There were men and women among them, along with 6 elders that emitted a terrifying aura in the front. From a distance, it looked like there were no less than 1,000 cultivators behind the vermilion bird, and none of their cultivation levels were low. These people moved quickly behind the vermilion bird. The vermilion bird made Wang Lin feel familiar. The moment his mind passed by, the vermilion bird's fiery eyes lit up and its body trembled. A mighty cry of the vermilion bird immediately echoed. After Wang Lin's mind passed, confusion filled the giant vermilion bird. The vermilion bird wasn't the only one confused. The cultivators behind it were confused as well, especially the 6 elders. They all looked at each other with surprise. They didn't know why the vermilion bird spirit would release a cry. No matter how much they pondered, they couldn't think of an answer. Wang Lin's mind continued to spread. At the center of the Alliance, there was a star field filled with dark purple meteorites. Within the depths of his star field lied another world. An extremely large, circular building floated among the stars, and it was surrounded by no less than 100 smaller buildings. Bursts of black lightning constantly flashed, giving off a strange pressure. This was the entrance to the Cultivation Alliance. Only by going through here could one reach the headquarters of the Cultivation Alliance. Wang Lin's mind arrived at this strange place. His mind even penetrated the entrance and arrived at the Alliance's headquarters. The Alliance's headquarters was in its own separate realm. It used to belong to the Rain Celestial Realm, but it was later found and occupied by the Cultivation Alliance. 173 giant cultivation planets formed the headquarters of the Cultivation Alliance. 172 planets were arranged in a circle, and they weren't static, they were slowly moving. From a distance, the Alliance headquarters looked like a miniature Alliance star system. Countless cultivators moved around, but strangely, there were no sound. At the center of this ring of planets was a giant vortex. This vortex was purple and would cause anyone who looked at it to tremble. Very few people knew exactly what was inside the vortex. Above the vortex was the last of the 173 planets. It didn't move, but floated above the vortex and absorbed the purple gas released by the vortex. This vortex was simply too big, a cultivator would be like an ant compared to it. In fact, the cultivator would be smaller than an ant and be impossible to see. Even the last cultivation planet seemed truly insignificant compared to the vortex. This video will end here.